Pat Drinan joins me this morning. Good morning to you, Pat.
Good morning, JP. Thanks for having us on.
And thanks for joining us. And we are hearing of more and more doctors and nurses who are coming to work in this country and here in Cork. And a lot of them have graduated out of college and are now working in the likes of CUH. And now they're coming into a situation where they need to live here, but demand is outweighing supply.
Yes, absolutely. And we're finding this in every profession. But since last year when we started this, and we're more of a people website than a property website, we list people looking for accommodation. We've found quite a lot, I would say a disproportionately high number of joiners are from the medical professions, and indeed they include nurses, but also student doctors. And we've even had consultants come to us who've spent, one man was up to 10 weeks moving just from the neighbouring county and could pay over €2,000 for a home for his wife and two kids. And it took that long just to find accommodation. So yes, it's proving to be very difficult, and we need these people in the city, obviously.
And when we're talking here about healthcare workers, we're very aware from what we're hearing on calls and texts, and even from people I meet myself, it's really something that's across all professions, and why we need healthcare workers more so, and there's more of them now moving to the Cork area to work in our two big hospitals. It's kind of affecting every sector, Pat, and I'm sure you're seeing that as well from your own website, HomeHak.
We are indeed, and on HomeHak we're agnostic about where people come from, what they earn, their qualifications, all of that. What we do is we help the individuals to gather their information and promote themselves and say, here I am, I'm an organised person, and I'd like somebody to, I'd like to apply for a home, but also we flip it on its head, JP, and we help them to display their tenant CVs and have people with homes come to them and offer accommodation to them. And we in the last week or so, we've decided to step up our appeal and look for people with maybe spare rooms in their homes that might be willing, that might feel benevolent towards the medical profession because they've had recent experience, and haven't we all had wonderful experiences in our hospitals and nursing homes and that, and then offer maybe that spare room if you're on a convenient commute to the hospital or other medical location, and offer the room maybe for 6 months and possibly even for a year, to give that medical person an opportunity, if they do want to find a longer term accommodation, at least they have somewhere to stay. Because a lot of times these individuals are coming to help us from abroad, and they get support for the first 6 weeks in hosted accommodation, a lot of times from agencies and maybe from the hospitals. But then they're sort of left to their own devices many times. And sometimes they don't know the geography so well, and they're left at very difficult commutes. They're left at very expensive accommodation options. And I feel, it's time just to raise the awareness and say, it's not just I'll have to advertise my home on a property website. In fact, we're starting, but we're going to make it more easy for people to find that person and select them, pick them out, and say, do you know what, I think maybe our property could suit you, or we can accommodate you for 6 months, 9 months, however long it is. Yeah,
and I was looking at your website yesterday, HomeHak. I like the way you do it. It's like a CV is the best way to describe it. As you would go for a job, it's a CV basically as a tenant looking towards a landlord to live. And I mean, a lot of people listening, I'm sure, over the years, I was one of them. I have my own place now, but I house shared for a number of years. And when somebody leaves the house and you have a room free and you have to go off and interview people, and there was 4 of us sharing a house, 3 of us then would have to interview people coming in. You can meet the most interesting characters, but a lot of them are not suited and won't fit into the house. So yes, what you have basically, it's an online website where people can upload what they do, what they, I suppose, are into, and you can match up then more or less a database to find the right home for the tenant, but also that the landlord will be finding the right person. Because nothing worse if someone may be on their own living and bringing someone in to help the community, to help people move into Cork, but then it doesn't work out, or they feel that person is messy, or it just doesn't work in the house.
Yeah, JP, you've hit on a number of features, and in fact, our most popular feature, you highlighted it just there. Thank you for that, because when we developed the platform, it's the first of its kind in the world, and we've started it in Cork, and we're looking, and it's growing quite quickly now. We're looking to scale it out of Cork in the near future. But the feature you alluded to there is where when people come and they prepare their, as you call it, their CV, it's a tenant CV, and it's something that why when people apply for homes with 6 or 8 or 10 different landlords or letting agents, do they have to prepare a new application every single time? You know what? We help them to prepare one great tenant CV with all of their references. Their ID is verified with Stripe identity. We're the first in Ireland to do that. And they present themselves as organised and as trustworthy. And then what we help them to do, if for example, the point you alluded to there, if there are 3 of them and they'd like to live together, well, it doesn't make sense that they apply separately then for homes and hope that one or other gets picked. We help them to join their tenant CVs, group them together, and apply as a ready-made household. And the letting agents and landlords love this, because from their perspective, it doesn't make sense to pick out 3 or 4 strangers, shove them in together, and hope fingers crossed they'll have chemistry. This was helpful for students, where a lot of first years coming to college don't know who are they going to live with. Fourth years don't want to live with first years. Master students feel, I've left college, I'm in a master's program now, so they don't want to end up living with different years. So it was helpful there for first years, second years, third years. They were able to identify each other, maybe with similar courses, similar years, or from similar backgrounds, lumped together as 4 people, like what we're suggesting the nurses do and the doctors, come together as a household and then present to the letting agent or to the landlord as, here we are, we're a group, we have better purchasing power than individuals, we're likely to get on well together, and we have everything ready and organised up front. And so that's a good summary of how we're approaching it and saying it's not all about property. And we're more a people website than a property. And if people go today and they see somebody that they feel they can offer a home to, that would be wonderful today. And if you don't see somebody you like today, well, it changes on a daily basis, and register your room or your home. And tomorrow or the next day, you might find that you're presented with a very full and wholesome tenant CV for somebody who is presenting it as an organised person.
Yeah, and even back in my day of house sharing, I think we would have used something like this, because you can be interviewing 7 or 8 or 9 different people every night, and it can be a process that can go on and go on. So surely when you have more detail, yes, it does make it easier when it comes to a house share situation. But for someone who owns their home and maybe wants to rent that room, of course, you can do that, and you can rent a room for, isn't it, up to €1,400? You won't be taxed on that. You have to tell revenue now out of the last budget, but you won't be taxed.
Yeah, it's actually much more than that, JP. It's 14,000 per annum. And just to be clear, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you get 14,000 like in a check in the post." No, it's you can get revenue, you get paid rent per month, and then as long as it adds up to 13,999, you pay no tax on that interview, and it's a wonderful incentive. And last Saturday, the team and I, we went to Ballincollig, the shopping centre, Castleway shopping centre there in Ballincollig, and we put up a stand because we thought we want to go out and hear back from the community